No.
Why? Because the child doesn't study that because they want to. It was put in front of them, so they learnt it.
Now, but the thing is that it was put in front. Some of them don't actually have that on their curriculum. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah.
Some of them
that's
actually learn it. Like you said, it was put in front of them, but it would have been put in front of them because of sort of like social media.
Or maybe their parents are addicted to knowledge.
Or something like I know. I have an uncle whose wife is very addicted to
Knowledge. Yeah.
and her kids are so smart that the UK system actually doesn't want them to know more than that.
Yeah.
And she's now taking them to America because America actually will allow them to, learn more. And sometime before 13 years old, they're working with NASA. God willing.
Weapons of mass
it's true. Like
destruction.
there are schools here for children who are less able and children that are more able. But if you're too advanced, they don't like it.
They don't like it. They want you to follow a curriculum, and that's maybe that will maybe be something. Oh, is it stop? Oh
No.
That will because they want you to follow. They don't want you to be better than.
They want followers.
They want followers. They need followers,
leaders.
not people who there you go. Because if you have too many leaders,
Spell the broth.
exactly. Thank you very much. Say that.
No, it's okay. Sir.
Now, so you were talking about education, climate change. Now, that's very interesting. Now, let's use industrialization, for example. Imagine we had industrialization and we had Twitter. Boom, class. Because why? If it wasn't for industrialization, we wouldn't have everything we have now.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? So industrialization was needed for the progression of humanity. You understand? Because now, if you have aliens now, we're using sticks and to fight aliens. Forget about it. We're getting burned. So industrialization was very important. But if we had the likes of Twitter and the bandwagon effect, humanity would not have progressed. And in reality, I'm going to use, now this might be a touchy subject, but I'm going to use Christianity as an effect. Now, all the times we had King Henry killing, there was a fight between King Henry and, was it King Henry?
Which King Henry?
It would have been King Henry, probably one of King Henry's children, and
which Henry? There was
Henry VIII, probably one of their children and someone else. And they had a fight about which Christianity was right. Elizabeth and Mary.
Yeah.
Mary was Mary the First of Scotland, and Elizabeth how many? I don't know. There's too many to count now. Who was controlling England? One was Protestant, one was Catholic. At that point, if you had Twitter back then, oh shit, forget Twitter. They were fighting about the end times. Back then, they were said, the end time this, the end time that, the end time blah blah blah. And there's been a series of multiple things which would have made you think the end time, Black Death, end time. We are coming towards the 2000. People were saying end time.
Yeah,
nobody actually knows when the end time actually is. I'm coming as a Christian. But people will say end time, blah blah blah.
That's a Christian.
And I feel that's the same with
The end
climate
time
change.
started when he rose up. So the end time is not one day, it's eternity till we all go back.
People try and predict the end time. And I kind of feel that's the same with climate change. Because you could have said that about industrialization, because there was smog everywhere. The climate would have got hotter 100%. Do you know what global industrialization is? The climate would have skyrocketed. It would have been so hot. You get me?
Yeah.
But now, all of a sudden, when people are actually making industrialization is going down now. Let's be honest, because we're not really working at the level where we've kind of done everything with industrialization. We're trying to use nuclear power now.
More like
and nuclear power doesn't really have to do with the earth. It's more that we're trying to see what's up there in space to try and help us. You get me? So I feel like with this thing, it's the same. The way they were saying, the end time is the way that they're saying, climate change is going to kill us. I don't really think it's not going to kill us. We are running out of resources.
We already know who's going to kill us.
Our own people.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are running out of resources, fair enough, but we'll find other resources to replace that.
Yeah, definitely.
The whole climate change thing, it's not inevitable. It will happen regardless.
Population control is not in our control. But it is being
But then
controlled.
I read something that if you put humans next to each other, square meter, blah blah blah, that will fit. We all could fit into the state of Texas. So there is enough space on this earth.
Oh yeah, definitely. There always has been. It's
There's
just not
enough
used properly.
space. But then it comes to the matter of, with the more people you have,
Back.
the more. With the more people that you have, the more brains you have, the more the people at the top of our hierarchy will feel like, oh shit, they're gonna rebel against us, blah blah blah. I feel that's what it's got to do with depopulation and blah blah, all of that. So there's a lot of things I think in my head, but you know.
When it comes to nuclear energy, how are you? What is your opinion of it? Are you for it? Are you against it?
You know
Do you
what?
think it's because I'm on my masters here for my civil and structural engineering degree. Sustainability is a massive part of it. Do you think? Because I do believe that it's been misrepresented in the media and misrepresented to the masses.
I'm not gonna lie. I know what you're talking about by it being misrepresented, but in what way? Like negative or positive?
A bit of both, to be honest. The sense of that I think it's being portrayed as more dangerous than it is to a degree. But then the positives also is that it's a big shift. And the one thing that we've been taught in engineering is that people do not like change. Whether you like it or not, people don't like change. So like with your role, the physician associate role, the reason that physician associates are getting so much shit is because people don't like change. They don't like that there's this new role coming in that does exactly the same.
That's what we learned about
as
the
the
day.
doctor.
Yeah.
But it's not the doctor, do you get what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't have that doctor in front of your name.
And that's it. Everybody is a kind of what's it called? We live in a snowflake generation, and everybody's very touchy-feely about certain things. Like, okay, now nuclear energy is so beneficial.
It is.
Like we can do so much more with nuclear energy, like so much more. But then people will start saying, oh, cancer has been going on for years.
Yeah, that's.
And nuclear energy is not the only reason for cancer.
Yeah.
Your blood clot diet can give you cancer. You being taller, me being 6'4", can increase my chances of cancer by 2. Everything,
By 2 what?
By times 2.
Oh wow.
So I'm double. Let me use a certain person's height. I'm not going to name heights in it.
Hey, not my man.
For example, someone who's 5'10", I'm probably twice as likely to get cancer than him. My chances of cancer is more than his. Me being a male, I'm more likely to get colon cancer than someone who is a female, or whatever gender they specify as. But biologically, initially, from the start, predisposition, predecessor, female melting, I'm more likely than a female to get it. Me as a black male compared to someone who's white, or us as Asian, or Asian BAME,
Ethnic minority.
we're more likely to get colon cancer than someone who's white because of our diet, blah blah blah, and all that. So cancer is not justified by nuclear. Yeah, nuclear has parts to play in it, but it's not like the world is trying to expose you to nuclear.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they're not. They're probably gonna wrap some lead around it and use the energy. We're trying to, in nuclear, like you guys, you're trying to use the energy from it. You're not trying to expose people to nuclear energy. It's very brazy. Like you said, the world doesn't like change, and that will forever be the thing. Like there's positives to it and there's negatives to it. Like for example, the world didn't really like the fact that Hitler wanted to take over the whole world. That would have been a massive change. But then the good thing is that's the positive to it. But then the negative to it is the fact that, now I'm not using Hitler as an example. He's out of the picture now. So people understand he's out of the picture. The negative to it is that some change that would have been so beneficial for the world, people are actually rejecting it because now
make things easy to a degree, because if we change the whole, if we change something as big as how we produce energy and how we consume it, that's a big change to the system.
It's such a big change. But you're a civil engineer now,
Yeah.
Now, okay, talk to us about the change in nuclear. Your personal opinion, talk to us about it, about nuclear energy. Like, do you think it's a good change? Like a very, very good change? Do you think there's quite a few negatives in there? Talk to us about it.
On paper, and as far as I'm aware, through testing as well, it's the cleanest, by far the cleanest form of energy out there. The cleanest, right?
Cleanest in how?
You get cleanest in the sense of there's no CO2 emissions at all. There's no emissions, nothing that would add to or contribute to the greenhouse effect, or that would speed up global warming, which is the main issue within climate change. That and global cooling. People always forget that global cooling happens. Like look at our summers here in Britain. They're getting really hot, but then there's other parts of the world where they're experiencing snow for the first time, either in centuries or just ever. Ever since weather's been recorded, they're getting ice, they're getting snow for the first time ever. And then, so it doesn't contribute to that, which is a positive and which is why it's clean. Yes, you do get radioactive waste, but it's not like you see in the movies where it's like...
super sludge.
Yeah, exactly, super sludge, this, that and the
like
other.
Simpsons.
Yeah, like in Family Guy made the joke about it, but to be fair, that is probably what would happen, where Adam West goes out and basically tries to get superpowers from radioactive sources and ends up getting ill. But he doesn't end up growing like a third arm or a third eye or this, that and the other, he just gets ill.
Radio sickness, yeah.
Yeah, he just gets radio sickness, right? So I understand that, but there are ways, like you said, with lead and with other inhibiting materials that can dispose of this waste safely. Now, on an infrastructure level, it's going to change everything, because we're going to need nuclear power plants everywhere. We're going to have to change the way that the national grid works in this country. You know, giving the example of the national grid in this country, we're going to have to change